I think of a guy like Seth. I think of him as one of the main cogs and leaders in that whole era.
Seth Bendian didn't waste any time contributing to a conference championship. In his first year, the native of Teaneck, New Jersey, helped the Bullets football team win the inaugural Centennial Conference crown as a defensive back and kick returner. The football team repeated the feat the following fall, with Bendian serving a key role on special teams with over 300 return yards. Bendian also played baseball in the spring and ultimately chose to focus his skills on the diamond after 2 years of competing for the two programs.
It was apparent to me right away that Seth was he was a good, strong leader on our team. He was obviously an excellent player, okay, but his character, his work ethic, his passion, and his intensity level really set the bar for a lot of the other players, and I think that was a major factor in our success during that time.
Bendian made an immediate impact for the baseball team, leading the Middle Atlantic Conference in batting average as a freshman, and then garnering his first all-conference honor as a sophomore in 1985. That season, Bendian set a school record for runs scored and swiped 21 bases. Batting at the top of the order and playing at second base, Bendian set the tone for the team's continued success on the field.
You know, he was one of those do-it-all kind of guys. I mean, he could drive the ball. He could hit for average. He had a short, compact swing, and he was an excellent guy to have right at the top of the lineup. Seth was one of those guys always getting on base and creating things and allowing things to happen. You know, he was great in that leadoff spot.
With Bendian leading the way, Gettysburg captured the MAC title in 1986, marking its first conference title in over 2 decades. With the majority of its lineup returning, including Hall of Honor inductees Tony Wechter and Chip Rossi, Gettysburg was positioned to make a run at another championship in 1987. After a down year offensively as a junior, Bendian produced an incredible senior campaign that helped the team overcome a slow start and make a run at another league crown.
It was a doubleheader against Muhlenberg. It was early in the conference schedule, and Seth just had a tremendous day. He had a couple of home runs, a couple of stolen bases, a couple of hits, played some great defense. Yeah, that's something that always stuck out with me, that I remember that day where he just had one of those days that just kind of carried our team, winning that doubleheader against Muhlenberg, and then that kind of swept us on to winning our division in the MAC, and then winning the second MAC conference title playoff. But I think that one day in particular, where he really stood out as being the guy that kind of carried our team that day.
The 1987 campaign saw Bendian named Most Valuable Player of the MAC. He led the team with a .451 batting average in conference play, and he stole a career-high 23 bases. At the end of his 4 years on the diamond, he finished as the program's all-time leader in runs, hits, doubles, and stolen bases. Bendian remains the program's all-time leader in steals, a feat made all the more impressive by the fact he only played in 100 games over a 4-year period, far less than today's players.
The thing about Seth that makes those records even more impressive is that back then, I think, our baseball program averaged about 25 games a year. Right now, we're averaging, if you include regular season and playoffs, we're averaging about 40 games a year. So if you took onto Seth's career, you added another 50, 60 games, onto his career. Who knows what those totals would have been? He would have had that many more opportunities. So I think that's what makes that stolen base and those runs scored records that impressive.
Bendian's time with the Gettysburg football and baseball programs led him to become a coach himself. For more than 2 decades, he has instructed aspiring baseball players on the tools needed to play the game while having fun in a unique sandlot atmosphere. Bendian resides in New York City with his fiancée, Michelle.
Seth Bendian deserves to be in the Hall of Athletic Honor because he was a great player and a great leader on 2 championship teams. He was the conference MVP his senior year, holds several school records that will be tough to be broken, right? And for those reasons, I think that Seth Bendian is very deserving of this honor.